in the previous qualifying round. But I think, honestly, even without the transfer window that they're having at the moment, I think a lot of teams out there have not wanted Fenerbahce in these qualifiers. They've been their worst possible opponent, really. And I think after Sturm Graz conceded those two early goals, the Talisca penalty and the brilliant goal by Mason Greenwood in his home debut, they did quite well, actually, Sturm, to keep it at 2-0 to go back to Austria with. So not a foregone conclusion, but a mountain for Sturm Graz to climb. I think it's fair to say, even without the relative resources of both those teams. But as I said, it could be huge for Turkish football, for Fenerbahce to get themselves into the Champions League proper, into the league stage. Particularly interesting when you bear in mind the result between both the draw last week for the playoffs and the first game in the Czech Republic between Sparta. 2 goals in 6 minutes. In the middle of those 2 goals, Corentin Tolisso missed a penalty, smashed it miles over the top. It's probably still going there above Czech airspace.
That's a hell of a few minutes, that, isn't it? Concede twice and miss a penalty.
Yeah, and it was more than deserved, because Paulo Fonseca picked an unusual team, is fair to say, an unusual formation, a formation that looked as if it was going to Prague, and something that's been pointed out in French media quite a lot, against a team that Lyon have habitually gobbled up in European competition, and went there to defend. And that really works out well, I think. They've got a big second leg, Lyon, to get through if they're to get themselves into the playoff round. And if they do get themselves into the playoff round, well, they'll be playing Fenerbahce, presuming they hold on against Sturm Graz. And you would have to say, on current form and in terms of momentum, Fenerbahce would be the favourites.
6-goal thriller between Union Saint-Gilloise and Werder Glimt. Werder Glimt potentially with heroics again in the Champions League. Got a 90th minute leveller from Odin Björtuf. They are remarkable still, aren't they, Werder Glimt? Because, you know, if they could get through again and perform in the way that they did last season, that would be really quite something. Yeah,
that's right. Olympiacos could lie in wait for them in the playoff round, so that will be interesting to see. But look, they've got to be confident in where they are. Of course, lost Casper Höh in the run up to these qualifiers, which is a bit of a blow for them. But you know, they've lost big players before, so I think they can feel confident going into that second leg, particularly as it's in Norway. Although from a Union perspective, I mean, at least they're not going there in November or January.
Yes, that's true. Let's look at the Europa League. Not great for Rangers. Lost 2-1 at Jagiellonia Białystok, the Polish team, despite the fact they scored a 4th-minute opener. It's been a dreadful start for Derek McInnes with Rangers. And Hearts absolutely demolished 6-1 by Marco Silva's Benfica. They were 4-0 down inside an hour. John Duran, one of the Benfica scorers on the night. And Wouter Vranken, who did really, really well with Sint-Truiden in Belgium last season. I think he was coach of the year, actually, in Belgium last season. He's had an absolute nightmare so far.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's a hospital pass, really, taking Hearts at the moment, because they had an incredible season last season. But they've lost some big players. You know, you look at Lawrence Shankland, Cammy Devlin, some huge players that they've missed, really, as well as Derek McInnes. And as well as the fact that, you know, we were talking about Dortmund before, getting over losing the title right at the last on the final day of the season is not easy to get over, is it, really? It's really tough. So I thought they were a little bit naive, the way they played. I mean, I tend to think, under the new coach, they'll probably play exciting football, more exciting football than they did last season. Whether it'll be more successful football is a totally different question. But look, Benfica have got great quality, although I'm just watching Benfica at the moment. They're in the 5th of 5 minutes of stoppage time and drawing 2-2 against Académica Viseu at the Estadio da Luz. For perspective, Académica Viseu have never been in the top flight before. It's their first game in the Portuguese top flight ever, away to the biggest club in Portugal, and they look like they're about to walk away with a point, which is pretty extraordinary.
That's a classic August result, that, isn't it? When teams aren't quite sorted, you've only just had pre-season. You get a few like that, don't you? It's great fun.
Well, although having said that, I don't think Benfica are thinking, right, we better keep everyone fresh for the second leg at Tynecastle.
That's true. I think a 5-goal lead is probably enough.
Well, yeah, you'd think so. But what this means is Hearts are going to end up playing another Austrian team, Rapid Vienna, who won comfortably in their first leg in the Conference League playoff. So you could end up with a situation, because Hibs and Motherwell are in the third qualifying round of the Conference League as well. We could end up with 3 Scottish teams in the Conference League in this season, or we could end up with none.
Yeah.
And I think, as I said last week, this is absolutely crucial for Scotland. I'm sure Hearts would have loved to get in the Champions League or in the Europa League, but let's be honest, in the Conference League, they've got more chance of getting results. If you had 3 Scottish teams in the league phase of the Conference League, this could be a pivotal season for Scotland in getting their coefficient up, in making it easier for their teams to get in future European competitions. It could be transformational for Scottish football.
And Hibs and Motherwell still very much in the mix in their respective ties. Karabakh, who worked wonders in the Champions League last season, got through to the knockout phase of the competition, but they didn't win the league in Azerbaijan, which was a major shock. So they went into the Europa League qualifiers, lost on penalties to CSKA Sofia, and now in the Conference League, they've lost 1-0 at Dynamo Kyiv in the first leg. So they might go from having knockout football in the Champions League, having no football at all in Europe after the qualifiers. Coming up after the break, we're going to talk transfers on Trans-Europe Express.
Train toilet door didn't work. Lock didn't work. Everyone's seen me on the bog. Didn't work. Train toilet door didn't work.
We can fix that, but our betting app is actually pretty good.
Bet £10, get £30 in free bets with Midnight. Search Midnight Sports or download the Midnight app today. New customers only. Restrictions and T's and C's apply. 18 plus. Play responsibly. Gambleaware.org.
Is it time to upgrade that phone of yours? Well, this just in. Oh, only Sky Mobile consistently has the lowest prices. Oh, on the latest phones. Ooh, with unlimited data, which means you can expect even more with Sky Mobile. Sky, believe in better. Weekly comparison versus major providers for selected phones on 36-month term with unlimited data. Verify at sky.com/lowest prices.
Talksport Drive, all next week from 4 with Giacomo. Get the latest sports news, get the top football names, get the goals going in, get all the big games, get phone-ins, get face-offs, get fury, get fun, get absolute limbs, and get in my son. Get red-hot takes, get sharp-dressed fans, get it off your chest, get it in your van, get it on the go, get it on the pod, get it live at 4, and get the nod. Daily discussion, disruption, and dissent on the show that just gets it. Talksport Drive, Monday afternoon from 4 with Giacomo. Get the nod.
Talksport.com, the football website with Wallop. Get fixtures, tables, transfer news and insider team talk, flaming reaction, fighting comments, crunchy opinions, plus see tons of funny Talksport stuff you can't watch anywhere else. Visit Talksport.com, the football website with Wallop. Available on the internet now!
Von der Serie A bis zur Bundesliga.
Trans-Euro Express.
Welcome back to Trans-Europe Express, into the final half hour of this week's show, and we've asked for your input for this section. Transfers, very much the order of the day, and you've been getting in touch in your droves, so let's get through as many of these as we can. Starting with Amanda, who's a Sporting fan, and will no doubt be very disappointed that Sporting have sold Ousmane Diomande to Nottingham Forest, the centre-back, for £34 million. Amanda's question is this an absolute bargain for Forest? Andy, this is quite an interesting one, I think, because Diomande is a guy that's been linked with Premier League clubs, even though he's still a relatively young player, for quite a long time now.
Yeah, he has. And he came with a big reputation, to be fair to Sporting, but he's made good on that. And I think despite the fact that Porto won the league last season, Sporting have been the best team in Portugal for a while now. Of course, that might change.